Well, howdy, and welcome back to another edition of the Withlacoochee River Railroad Report. And, of course, this is the 2024 recap edition. And we're going to go and see what we got going here. Hey, that F3 runs pretty good, doesn't it? Did you notice those 4 boxcars in the middle there? Yep, those are 4 of the scale boxcars. I've actually got a few of them running, and they've made it around the loop, multiple times. So that's a plus. Anyway, let's kind of go back in time. Let's go. Why don't you follow me through the intro, and we'll come back to it. Well, let's see. I started off the year kind of in a bad way because I was stuck working through the couple of weeks in January where we actually had 2 train shows in the Brooksville Spring Hill area. First, of course, being Dana's at Dana's Railroad Supply, and then again just a week later. The show that would have been over at the fairgrounds in Brooksville. I ended up working both those Saturdays. What I was doing was a series of dog shows. No, I'm not in the dog shows, but I was having to work the dog show. I was working as a parking lot attendant. It figures. But as we got into February, my wife was still in rehabilitation at that time. To take you back in the Wayback Machine here just a little bit, last December in 2023, my wife had fallen and broken her leg in 3 places. And so, naturally, in December, she was, the last week or so of December, she was in the hospital. They ended up, replacing not only the knee, to give you the whole story. She had already had a knee replacement on her right knee, and she kept wondering if she had made the right choice of having the right one done first. Well, choices to make sometimes, because sometimes the right one was hurting more than the left one, and you're just going to make that choice based on how you're feeling the pain. That is just the way it is. And I'm not so sure all of us wouldn't make that same choice. So she had her right knee replaced a couple of years back. Well, she was supposed to get the left one replaced. Well, they kept playing games and kept playing games. And, well, you need to lose a few more pounds, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. Always looking for an excuse not to operate. And then in December, she was scheduled. She was scheduled, I think, for the 13th or something like that. It was a Tuesday morning she was scheduled for. But now all of a sudden they're sending her for more and more blood work. You know, because, well, what are they finding in the blood that they don't like? What excuse are they going to use this time to keep her from getting her operation again? Just to get the right knee done. First, it was because my wife was testing positive for so-called C19, and then the second time it was because the doctor was sick. Finally, on the third try, she finally got that one done. It's enough to make you mad sometimes. So, you know, this time we were wondering, and I'm thinking maybe God allowed this to happen for a reason. She fell in December getting some blood work done. Ironically, we were right there at the lab. She was trying to get back in the truck and fell. We got her to the hospital. We called 911, got her to the hospital. And she wasn't going anywhere at that point. Ain't that just great? So, she ended up getting that knee replacement a day early, as a matter of fact, because it was the following Monday instead of Tuesday. She got the knee replacement. She also got some stainless steel bones put in because she broke the femur. And they also put a little bit of stainless steel up into or she broke the tibia. She also got some stainless steel up into the tibia. And they got her all fixed up. But now she was going to have to go in for rehab. Well, she was in rehab for a full 3 months. So, needless to say, anyway, after the Thanksgiving week of 2023, I wasn't finding much work. Now, mind you, we're both old enough that we're collecting Social Security and everything, so, I mean, that's really not a problem. But I still like to get out and work and earn a little extra money. This way I have money for going to the train show and, you know, purchasing some stuff. So, in 2024, I ended up working the 2 train shows that I would have loved to gone to the most in January. Might have worked to my benefit because, again, that might be God allowing something to get in the way of something else that ended up benefiting me. Because in February, when I set up at Dana's, I was selling very well. Which is our last show of the year at Dana's, we sold well again. My wife was not quite out of rehab at that point. She was almost out, but not quite out. And then we had 2 more shows we were working for the season, which we call it our season. One in April in Crystal River, because we have a show in Crystal River in April with Regal Railways. And then again in Brooksville. We did exceptionally well in sales on those days, and that's when I finally got. Let's see, this one here I got at the show in Crystal River in April. This RS3. It's a Protosound 1. It does work. Works fine. It has no battery in it. We discovered that on the maintenance on the Monday night maintenance one night, didn't we? We even looked down in the down in the fuel tank area for the battery. There was no battery in it. Well, that explains why it shuts off when it shuts off, when you shut the power off. This one here is Protosound 2. I picked that one up in April, or in May of last year. And that one was a fluke. I mean, I didn't expect now. I know it's Protosound 2 because one of the guys identified the sticker on the bottom. The RS3 I picked up for a whopping $60. It's a good running engine. A month later, I picked up this Milwaukee Road RS1. It's a Protosound 2, as I said. And it's got electro couplers on it, and it's got nice extra details. I know this one's the scale model. I believe the RS3 is in scale also, but it's got an engine crew inside the cab. Everything works on it just beautifully, and it runs beautifully on DC too. And you actually have to use the direction switch. You don't use the E unit on this one, you know, when you're changing directions on DC. But on AC, you would, of course, use the E unit. But both of them are excellent running engines. I love both of these engines. They are two of my favorite engines. Other stuff I picked up throughout the year. Both of these gondola cars. Picked them up from the same guy. You know, he's the same guy that's selling off his father's collection little by little. Picked those up. Picked up the flat car with the bus on it, which you don't see too many buses, even though I have seen buses shipped on flat cars before. In fact, I remember watching a whole train of them go by in Austin one night, and all of the buses were those electrified buses. You know, they had the trolley poles on them, but they were still buses. I picked up numerous. This here was a scale car I picked up, or I should say a two-rail car I picked up. I seem to get a lot from that one guy, don't I? All of these cars were new and in the box. That 50-foot outside braced box car there, the Northern Pacific car, I also picked up, as well as that 40-foot Burlington Route car. All of those tank cars, with the exception of the one on the end, I picked up. I picked up the full set of these Northern Pacific covered hoppers, and ended up earlier in the year I had picked up the CB&Q one CB&Q hopper. I don't know which one it was I picked up first, but it was in with a batch of with this car and that box car, and that's what I picked up in Crystal River last April. And then I ended up picking up two more of those, and that completed the set. I picked up a number of cabooses this year. Of course, I always had cabooses, but during the dog show, I ran all the way back into town, up to Dana's, and my friend John was still packing up. And I picked up that Ontario Northland caboose. It had a red roof on it. Somebody had painted the roof red. Now, fortunately, they did a halfway neat job of it, and I was able to mask it off and repaint it the dark blue it should have been. So the car doesn't look wrong now, but, you know, the car was for some reason. No, the car was repainted. I picked up these three cabooses here, and the one on the end of the train over there, which is the Northern Pacific caboose. I picked those all up on the same day. The Burlington caboose, The New York Central caboose and the Northern Pacific caboose I picked up from that guy that's selling off his dad's collection, naturally. And I got those. I'm trying to think. I believe it was at the... I know it was in Crystal River, and I believe it was the September show. It was the December show, I'm sorry. So those are very recent. I also picked up that Lackawanna caboose. Some lady had it. And I thought, okay, I've got those Lackawanna F units. That would go fine with those. So now, my Pennsylvania cabooses cover my Pennsy engines. My now I have a Lackawanna caboose that covers my Lackawanna engines too. Also in December, I picked up the Western Pacific F3. It's an old K-line. And one of the things that flustered me was when I got it home, it didn't run. Oops. I guess I should have checked it out at the show, but it didn't run. And I couldn't figure out why it couldn't run. And I went and looked at it to see if, well, maybe the switch, because they normally would have a little switch on the bottom and then there's no switch there. What's going on here? Somebody's been in it, I thought, and taken all the guts out of it except the motors. I didn't take the motors out. Okay, so I checked it out, and then I did a little research and found, no, they were sold in 3-unit sets, and only 1 unit would carry the E unit, usually the lead unit. And sometimes they come with a horn, and often that would be in the B unit. So, not always, but often it would be in the B unit. So in this case, okay, this must be a part of a set. Makes sense. Now things were beginning to fall into place. He said he would look for the other units. He's had these Western Pacific F units out for sale before. And I'm thinking, no, he's probably sold them off, thinking about it, because he has had them out before, and he probably sold them off, and he probably doesn't have them anymore. Okay. So I thought, 2024, it's the railroad. This railroad, as you see it now today, did not exist throughout most of the year. It wasn't until August of last year, 2024, that I actually started building on it. And I thought, okay, let's hop to it. So in late August, after all the rain that we had, because if you remember correctly, I was going to build me a nice large loop using my Gargraves track out there in the backyard. And I was going to have some switches and whatnot and all of that. And I thought, okay, things ain't working out with all this rain. Yes, I could use Gargraves track outdoors, even with the rain. The track kept like some Thompson's water seal on the ties and things like that. It wasn't the sun, as hot as it was getting, it was not hurting the switches any that I did have out there. They're working fine, or they will work fine. I'm thinking, okay, what problem am I running into here? Too much rain. I can't even get out and run my trains when I feel like it, At least inside here, I can get in here and have some protection from the rain. The railroad's got some protection from the elements. And that while there's no heat out here, and if there's no heat, you can bet there's no air conditioning either. But about late August, I decided to start coming in here, and I started laying track. Laid that Lionel fast track right over the old, some of the old O-gauge or O-scale cork roadbed that's down. And just built it on around both ways. And finally met back here somewhere just before the bridge. Kept running into a problem. The bridge is not long enough to stretch across that doorway there. That doorway isn't all that wide. It's only about 3 feet wide. So yeah, you can see that I snuck the railroad inside it by just a few inches. But I could not find a bridge. I got 2 line L bridges. I had this one accessory bridge. It's an offshoot bridge, all made back in the 50s except for one. And I tried it with the first one first because it was almost long enough to reach, not quite. If I'd have put, if I'm along here, to put bridge abutments underneath here, you know, that way it'll start, you know, start giving it a little scenic element there, and you'll not really see that much of the end of the bridge. Anyway, no, it wasn't. Not only was that one not long enough, but it was too short. I could not run my TOFC cars through it. Wham! Yeah, it stopped the train. Okay. So, what do? I bought a line L bridge. One I thought might be long enough. No, it was shorter than the others, I think. Well, dang. What can I do here? And I paid like $50 for that line L bridge. That's $50 I'll probably try to get back. Anyway, not real happy with the way that turned out. Then one day, I guess it was like November. We're at the show at Dana's, and John's there. He's got several bridges himself, and I saw this one. Now, he was getting $30, $40 a bridge, except this one, he didn't know what he wanted, so he sold it to me for $5. Not a bad price. So I took it, brought it home, and saw that it stretched all the way across the layout. Ah, yes. Yep. So I knew that what I was going to have to do was, again, tear up the track, get it back down. Now, of course, this time I could get the track back down and all repowered back up without the bridge being in the way. Simply because there's no scratch built by somebody. But hey, I thank that guy for doing that, because he probably had a doorway too that he was trying to get across. He did a good job. It's all brass, but it's obviously scratch built brass. Anyway, it got to the point where, being disappointed in the F unit there, the disappointment, it kind of shed and went to, kind of excitement. I get to do something here. So I ordered me some bridge rectifiers off of Amazon. Had them the next day. I wasn't even going to work on that the next day. But I had them the next day, which was great. And I got both those and my Pennsylvania F unit, or I got both the Pennsylvania F unit and the Western Pacific F unit running now. I'm very happy with my Pennsylvania F unit running. It doesn't really have good traction tires on it, so it doesn't really climb the hill very well. But hey, it at least goes. And run the two of them together. Of course, you got to run them elephant style, because they only go one direction. Yep, that's the way it is. So I've got a fleet of F units now. I've got my Lackawanna F units, which is one powered and two dummies. I've got the Western Pacific F3. And I've got the Pennsylvania F7. They call it an F7. It's, you know, with those dynamic brake grids, it's an F3, people. That's all there is to it. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a recap for 2024. The layout got built up slowly but surely. By the end of September, we had a full loop running. So, now I have no switches on that main line, not even today. But as you can see, I've got switches laid out. And I've got a switch yard somewhat built down here. It's still more of a fiddle yard than it is a switch yard. But I do set things on it occasionally, and that's for photographic purposes and stuff of that nature. But I thought I'd go ahead and just share with you what it took to get this layout up to where it is now. The layout itself, this bench work on here against this wall, and most of that was repurposed and put right back up. But this bench work here has been here since 2005. It's had 3 model railroads built on it now, including this one. It started out O-scale 2 rail. Now, some of you might be asking, why did you ever go 3 rail if you were a 2 rail modeler? Well, you can find 3 rail at all the train shows, for one. So whatever you can find, that's what you're going to get. Yes, I could buy 3 rail rolling stock and convert it. I probably could convert all of my diesels to 2 rail. Again, though, that would run into quite a bit of money. That'd be like trying to, you know, okay, maybe I spent like less than $100 buying that F3, that Western Pacific F3. Switch it over to Blue Nami, so there's another $205 or $250. Would you do that? I wouldn't. The only engines I would consider that with right now would be these two here. These two MTH diesels that are sitting right there. That's the only 2 engines I own, diesel power, that I would do that with. I did pick up an 080, New York Central 080, with all its valve gear from the 1990s. It was probably one of their lower end engines, but it's got sound in the tender and everything, and you've seen it run. It's a nice engine to have, I'm happy with that one. That one I would consider putting a Blue Nami in. There's probably a little bit of other rolling stock I've picked up this year, but I can't think of it offhand. Because I always, every time I go to a train show, I'll pick something up. Sometimes I don't pick up very much. There's been train shows where I went and spent maybe $5, $6, $7 and bought a couple of junk, freight cars or something. But that's just the way it goes. But that's kind of it for 2024. We're in 2025 now. We don't know where the world is going at the moment. We've got a deep state out there that wants to tell us what we're going to do. They're already trying to push another pandemic. This time they're calling it bird flu. It's just COVID all over again. I would admonish everybody, don't comply. Just do not comply, whatever. Don't give in like we did the last time. Granted, the last time we didn't know what we were up against when it all started. We didn't know what we were dealing with. We know what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with a bunch of out-of-control people that want to rule over us and have all the power. That's what we're doing now. So, do not comply. Don't cancel all the train shows. Don't let them put you out of business again. Don't let them stop you from going to church again. I know I'm getting more into the political or religious realm here, but I'm going to tell you something. It's all connected. Because what affects one is going to affect the next one and the next one and the next one. So keep that in mind. Now, let's get back and let's run a train for a little bit, shall we? You know I wouldn't give you a video without running some trains. Till next time. Oh, by the way, if you like the content, if you like my videos, be sure and like them and share them. Share. I know I share usually on Facebook and MeWe, but, you know, go ahead and share the videos. And, you know, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps the channel to grow. And I want my channel to grow a little bit. Yes, I've had my channel for over 20 or nearly 20 years. And for a long time there, I didn't bother helping it to grow. This year, I decided to get back into it. And that's another thing that I should point out is that's why you're seeing me a little bit more and more. And the channel is beginning to grow a little bit. I'm beginning to see some of my own videos popping up on the feed. A little more now, and you know, if you like the videos, more people will get to see it. So until next time, happy railroading.